So it is Tuesday today. I will be going through about the euro dollar, but before I get into just the euro dollar, what you actually notice is that as I share my screen, my chart, my news here, is that on Forex Trading Asia, looking at the economic calendar, today being Tuesday, we will be looking at the euro dollar, but we do have the pound news, the UK news on claimant count numbers expected to change from this minus 7.8K, with unemployment rates looking to go from a 4.7 to a 4.6, and average hourly earnings looking to drop slightly, right? So I will also be looking at the pound dollar as a little bit of a bonus today, and then also tomorrow I will still be looking at the pound dollar because we do have a lot of other news, the CPI numbers to be released tomorrow as well. So a little bit more focus on the pound and the euro for this week. Coming back to what the main currency in focus, the euro dollar, what to pay attention to, what could move prices. Tuesday today, we do have the pound news. We have some eurozone, well, euro countries data to be released. But the main approach with the euro data is I tend to take a little bit less weightage on the euro countries individually. What I want to focus on a little bit more is the eurozone data as a whole. So what you should be looking for here is not so much about these numbers here. Things to pay attention to: US CPI month on month looking to go from a 0.5 to a 0.4. We spoke about that yesterday. Might see some strength coming around for the euro, for the dollar, with CPI dropping a little bit, but this is that fluctuation that we anticipate a little bit for the CPI numbers, inflationary numbers here. Following on from that, Wednesday, Eurozone, Euro numbers again, but not a big Eurozone number, so I'm not too keen on this. We do have a lot of US news, but these are not big price movers here. And then following on from that, on Thursday, we have Lagarde speaking, President Lagarde speaking. So pay attention to that on Thursday evening. Following on from retail sales numbers for the US, looking at some recovery, core retail sales number looking from a minus 0.4% to a minus 0.2%. So might see some recovery there. Retail sales number going from a minus 1.1 to a minus 0.8 for month on month. So looks like a little bit of a recovery there as well. And then pound, I'll talk about it on tomorrow. But we have the Eurozone CPI numbers look at this, CPI month on month looking like a good rebound, going from a minus 0.1 to a plus 0.4%. CPI month on month, and CPI year on year going from a 2.2 to a 3%. In this case here, what I could anticipate for the euro data for CPI is possibly this going to be about a 0.3%. I don't think you'll get all the way to 0.4. I think it'll be a 0.3. But the year-on-year number should be at a 3 or possibly even higher than 3% for year-on-year. But the current approach with the central bankers is the expectation or the view that any inflationary number or any improvements in inflationary number is a transition, is transitory. So they are still going to hold back, wait a little bit and see whether this is sustainable, whether this could be applied towards the longer term. So I don't expect a long-term trend change because of these numbers. I think we're going to see some volatility on Friday evening with the CPI numbers coming around, but the main thing is to pay attention to the overall trend, overall movements in terms of the euro dollar. And then after that, we do have the consumer sentiment for the US looking to stay quite strong at about a 72.2 number. What all this means in terms of the euro dollar is here looking at the charts, euro US on the H4 time frame. Last week when I spoke about this, I said I was going to test that 1.19 before dropping down towards the 1.1766. It didn't test that resistance as much, but it did drop all the way down as much as this week we see it testing that 1.1766 before bouncing up towards the 1.18 level right now. So putting it all together, what I could anticipate, possibly some stability coming around from the Eurozone in terms of the CPI number. What we could see is the US retail sales number, the US inflationary numbers coming a little bit of a fluctuation. I think that we could see from this point that move towards 1.19 again, back up towards that 1.19. I would be very careful here because your stop loss might be 30 pips at this point with a 80 pip take profit level, but bear in mind you're right in the middle. You're not at this support level, you're in the middle of this point. So I wouldn't rush into a trade, especially on the euro dollar right now. What I would be waiting for is possibly for it to go above that 1.1835 level. Wait for the euro dollar to go above that 1.1835. You could have a tight stop loss at about 20 pips for a good take profit level at about 60 pips. You're looking at a 1:3 risk reward ratio towards the upside for the euro dollar on the H4 time frame. This will require you to be sitting out waiting for that move, about a 20 pip move towards the upside before looking for buying opportunities above that 1.1835 level. So quite straightforward, a little bit of waiting for the euro dollar. Looking at the euro pound here, if we anticipate that the euro dollar is likely to move up that 60 pips, I'm actually more keen towards this euro pound number. If it breaks above, it could drag the euro dollar moving up, could drag the euro pound up. I would be looking for buying opportunities above that 8538 resistance level now. So what you'll be waiting for is, let's be a bit more conservative, about a 8545. Above 8545, you would have a 20 pip stop loss, very good 20 pip, 40 pip take profit level, 1:1 or 1:2 risk reward ratio towards the upside. You could even move your resistance slightly higher. So you're looking at that move towards the upside on the euro pound, 20 pip stop loss, 40 pip take profit level 1:2 towards the 8590 resistance level. But as we look into the euro dollar possibly moving up, we look into the euro pound possibly breaking that resistance and moving up. This is also dependent on what the pound dollar is likely to do. So coming back to the news, what could happen here on the pound dollar today being Tuesday? Look at the claimant count numbers, possibly at a minus 7.8%, 7.8K last. We could see some improvements there, but I think that we're possibly going to see a little bit of a stronger pound because of unemployment rate going from 4.7 to possibly a 4.6. Claimant count number could improve there. Average hourly earnings, dropping a little bit. That might be a bit of a concern with the employment change quarterly going from a 95 to a 178. So you might see a bit of a mixed bag of data here when it's released at 1400 hours GMT plus 8. With this mixed bag, I think that we're going to see on the charts here for the pound dollar on H4 time frame, that similar mixed bag of reactions. The last time I spoke about pound dollar, I said that it was likely to test at 1.3747 and reject and bounce up towards 1.3870. It's done. I like how it's done that exactly. It came down, test, and bounced straight up towards that resistance level. At this point, I think that with the news to be released, what we could see is that break upwards, but similar to what happened last week and the week before, I think 1.3870 is a very strong resistance. And I think that we might see, with the mixed bags of results, we might see that test and turn back down again. So what I would be looking for here is for it to test and reject. So look for that selling opportunity as it comes back. If it comes back down below 1.3870, you could be looking at about 1.3854, 30 pip stop loss, 40 pip stop loss for a good 90 pip take profit level, a 1:3. Again, a 1:3 risk reward ratio to trade within that range back towards the 13747 support level. So look for that test of the resistance, look for that rejection before jumping into a trade, possibly towards the downside on the pound dollar.